is Module 4, Lesson 1, and we're going back to study line plots today, okay? Dar, can you get the door for me, please? All right, so this particular activity is comparing the size of fraction pieces, okay? So let's just say I have 1/2. This is just a visual for you to see, okay? And then let's say I have 1/4. Which piece is larger?
1/4.
Which piece is larger?
1/2.
1/2. Think of like if you're going to eat half of a pizza or 1/4 of a pizza, okay? A half is going to be larger than a 1/4, correct? A half of a pizza would look like this. A 1/4 of the pizza would be right here, wouldn't it? So is this piece larger than this piece?
Yes.
Okay, so the alligator eats a larger fraction. That's what we're doing, okay? Now, does anybody know the trick to this? Because there is a trick when comparing fractions. Think about it before you raise your hand. There is a trick, okay? Cadence, what do you think the trick is?
The smallest common denominator.
The smallest denominator is the largest piece. Now this only works, are you listening? This only works when your numerators are the same. If I have different numerators, I've got to use a different strategy, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and complete these. I'm just going to pull sticks. You tell me which one's larger, okay? Chady?
1/2.
Okay. George A?
1/4.
Good. And Beverly? 1/3. Now stop here. We've got different numerators. The easiest thing to do is just simplify both fractions.
Oh, 1.
That's easiest. So 2/4, is 2/2 of 4?
1/2.
So that's 1/2. Is 3/2 of 6?
Yes.
So they're equal, okay? All right. So the next one, we have numerators that are the same. Just because they're not 1 doesn't mean we can't use the trick. So George V, which one is a larger piece? 3/4. Good. And Jair?
2/3.
Good. And Emiliano? 3/8. Now this one, they're different. So let's just simplify them. Well, 2/3 is already simplified. So let's simplify 6/9. Divide them both by
2.
what?
3.
3. Go ahead, write it down. And then we can see which one is larger. What's the answer?
Equal.
They're equal. Okay? So that's a little review of comparing fractions. Let's look at the next one. This is decomposing fractions. Now, this is like, I could do repeated addition or I could do multiplication. I'm going to get the same answer. So if I decompose this into 2 parts, my denominator doesn't change, does it?
It would just be 1/3.
Okay, so it'd be 1/3 plus 1/3. So go ahead and write that in. Now, a multiplication problem that says the same thing for me. How many copies of 1/3 do I have? 2. I have 2 copies, don't I? 2 copies of 1/3 equals 2/3. Okay, that's all we're doing. So I'm going to pull sticks. Sound good? Cadence. Help me with this one. What goes in the circles?
1/5 and 1/5.
Good.
1/5 plus 1/5.
Equals.
2/5.
Good. You want to do the multiplication sentence? Okay.
2 times 1/5 equals 2/5.
Good. Okay. Let's take a look at the next 2. They're a little bit different. I think you can figure it out. Jesus?
1/4.
Good. Did you want me to write that 3 times?
Yeah.
Okay. What goes here?
1/4.
3/4 is your answer. Okay. What about multiplication sentence, Jesus?
3 1/4.
3 times 1/4, or 3 copies of 1/4 equals, okay, all right. The next one is, she's not here, Lexi's gone again. Uridia, help me with this one.
1/8 plus 1/8. 1/8. Then the one's 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 equals 3/8. 3 times 1/8 plus 3/8.
Good. All right. So what do we have next? Equivalent fractions. I love these. These make me happy. Okay, now you can think of it as half. What's half of 4? 2. Okay. What's half of 6? 3. But when you get to thirds and 2/3 and 3/5, it's a little trickier. So here's a good strategy. 3 times 2 equals 6. So 1 times 2 equals 2. Okay? 3 times something equals 12.
4.
So 2 times 4 equals
8.
Okay, I'm going to pull sticks. You think you can handle this?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a Beverly answer when you do this. All right? I want you to say 4 times something equals 16. And tell me what the something is, okay? Miguel.
4 times 4 equals 16. Times 3 equals 12.
Good. Vaughn.
5 times 5 equals 25, so it's 20, or no, 15.
So 3 times 5 equals
15.
15. Abiel.
2 times 2 is 4. So, yeah. Oh.
I understand what you mean. Okay. Chloe.
Okay, 5, 1, 2 times, 2 equals 4.
No, 1 times 2 equals 2. So 5 times 2 equals 10. Those are kind of hard with a 1 and a 2, aren't they? I think they're confusing. Okay, Dara, help me with the next one.
2 times 4 is 8. And 5 times 4 is 20.
Good. Emiliano?
4 times 3, wait, no, 3 times 3 equals 9, so 4 times 3 equals 12.
Good. And Josue?
4 times 4 equals 16. 5 times 4 equals 20.
Good. All right. So let's go ahead and start on the lesson. You don't have this on your paper, okay? So what we're going to do is each of you are going to come up and you're going to write your shoe size on a sticky note. Now let me show you, because I'm going to do my shoe size first, okay? Now we're going to do line plots today. Did you figure that out since there's a line and it says line plots? Okay? So are you ready for this? You're going to drag out a sticky note, change it to the pen, and write your shoe size on there. How's that sound? Okay? I'll take care of all the technology here in a minute. But that's what size I wear. Cadence, can we share shoes from now on? I thought so. I saw your shoes today and I went, those are so cute. I want to borrow those. Okay, so I'm going to pause it while we do all that so that the video doesn't take so long. Sound good? Okay. All right, let's take a look at this now. We've got our shoe sizes written on a sticky note, okay? And I need to make a line plot here. In order to make that line plot, I need to have some numbers on it, don't I?
Yes.
So help me, what would the smallest number I need be?
2.
A 2. And I'm going to write below it. Why do you think I'm writing below it?
2.
Why?
We're going to write X's on the top.
Because I'm going to put X's above, okay? Shh. So the largest, now think about this before you answer. In fact, I feel like pulling a stick here. The largest shoe size or number I need.
8.
Okay, but how am I going to know where to put 8.5?
It's
No. On the number line, how will I know?
Oh, at the end.
Should we just put a whole number on there?
Yes.
What whole number?
9.
9. 9. Okay. So now I gotta do between 2 and 9. Okay? So 9 minus 2 is 7.
Yep.
So I'm going to need 6 tick marks, right? Is that right?
6.
Because I need 7 spaces, so I need 6 tick marks?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do 6 tick marks very easily. How's that? Now let's see if this works out. 3. It did.
Then you need to do
Okay,
tick marks.
so now Cheney says let's do some halves. I know this one isn't very good, is it? It's too close together, but I don't think I'm going to write half because I think you can figure out where to put the halves, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, hold still. Quit tapping. All right, so your next step, and you're going to have to get in line right here and swing it around like you did, is to drag your sticky note to the correct place.
Just ours.
Just yours. So you have to go find yours and put it where it goes, okay? I'm not messing around with mine. I'll just leave it down here. Thank you. All right, so we've got these recorded. Make this a true line plot. What would I need to do now?
X's.
X's, okay? So I'm going to switch to the pen and make X's. And I think I'm just going to get rid of these sticky notes for now, just by moving them up. Is that okay with all of you? I'm going to pause it while I do that. Okay, so how many X's did I need here?
1.
1. When I make the X, I want to make sure that I am trying to make them about the same height all the way across and the same size. Okay, the next X I needed was 3.5?
Yeah.
Okay. And I needed 2. And then 2 on the 4, 2 on the 4.5.
1 on the 1.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 on the 6.
Okay.
2 on the 6.
What? No, 1.
Are there any 6s?
There's
No.
one right there. One right
A plain 6?
there. No.
Whole number
no,
6?
No.
Okay.
No, plain 6. There's 6.
Okay.
2.
2 6.5s.
1 7.
Okay.
2 7.
3 7.5s.
And 1
And 1 8.5. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this data we collected. This is data or data, however you want to say it. And there are some questions you're going to have to answer. Now, I'm just going to use some of them from the application problem. The first question says, which shoe measurement, what is the shoe measurement of the smallest shoe?
2.
2, okay? Or size 2, right? Okay. How many shoes measure 6.5?
2.
2. How many shoes measure 8.5?
1.
1, okay? So you know how to answer a question like that. Okay. What is the measurement of the largest shoe?
8.5.
8.5. Okay, now here's the trick question. What is the most frequent shoe measurement?
7.5.
Wow. So what does frequent mean?
More.
Most? More?
Average.
No, don't say average, okay? Average is something we're not talking about right now, but I am going to teach it to you real quick at a later date. Okay, so right now, what we're going to do is answer the last question. Now, I saw someone writing with their pencil on their paper earlier, and now I see some people trying to pick up their pencils now. Please don't worry about your paper right now, okay? I want to finish this question. So here's the final question. What is the total of all the shoe measurements?
You have to add them?
We have to add them up. Okay, so now what I want you to do, and I know you don't have scratch paper, but you have a pretty big spot right here on the edge of your paper. So let's use this area right here. And we're going to, you don't have to copy any of this down, okay? You're just going to copy down what we figure out as we go through this. So right now, here's what I want to do. And I'm going to put these in a different color so we don't get confused, okay? So the measurement, total measurement right here is 2, right? Whoops. 2. Okay. Now what's my total measurement here? 3.5
1.
plus 3.5.
7.
7. How'd you get 7?
3.5 plus 3.5. 3 plus 3 is 6 and 1/2 plus 1/2.
I love it. 3 plus 3 is 6 and 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. So that makes 7. So write down a 7 next. Okay? 4 plus 4, 8. Now do you know why I'm taking 4 twice?
Because there's
Because I have 2 x's, okay? 4.5 twice. Don't say it. I'm going to pull a stick. What was it?
9.
And 1 measurement of 5, or
Right.
1 copy of 5. 2 copies of 5.5. Beverly.
5 plus 5 would be 10. And then.
You're right. Okay. The next one, Cheney, 6.5, 2 copies of 6.5.
Oh, 13.
Mm-hmm. And 1 copy of 7.
7.
3 copies of 7.5. Add DL. Now I would do 7.5 plus 7.5 plus 7.5. I would add up my 7s. So what's that? 21. Then I would add a half plus a half. So that'd be 22. And then I have another. Okay. So now when I do math, I like my fractions at the end. So I've been having the kids erase or cross off the fractions, add them up, and then if there's a fraction left over, move it to the end. We don't have anything to move to. What's a half plus a half?
1.
Okay, so let's just add a 1 on the end. Okay? So write a 1 on the end. Now we're going to simply add these numbers. This is not going to be hard to add, but there are times when we will have to do a little bit of standard algorithm. Okay? So let's add some in our head and let's write some of them down. So 2 plus 7, what's that? 9. 9 plus 8?
17.
17. 17 plus 9?
27. 28.
Okay, so we've got 17 right here. We're going to add 9. We're going to figure this out.
Oh, 26.
What is it?
26.
26. So write 26 here. This is a method I've been using today, and it works pretty well. 26 plus 5.
31.
Okay, write 31 down. 31 plus 11.
42. 42, I mean.
42. So write that down. 42 plus 13. Add it up.
55.
55. 55 plus 7.
62. 62. 61.
Write it down. 60. Oh my. 62. Okay, 62 plus 22.
84.
Good, we all agree on that. 84 plus 8.
92.
Are you doing the math on your paper? Or are you just having me do it for you? And 92 plus 1. So the total measurements, total of the measurements is 93. Okay? The reason I wanted you to have this experience of adding these up is because on the homework page that we're gonna do in class, hopefully, if we have time, you have to add them up, okay? All right, let's keep going. So we're ready to answer some questions now. And you can go ahead and look at your paper. This isn't gonna be hard for you. This says bean growth in inches during week 2. Sounds like a science teacher to me, recording the growth of the bean plants. Okay, so what is the measurement of the shortest plant? Vaughn?
1 3/4.
1 3/4. And I'm guessing, you think these are inches?
Yeah.
Probably, so just write inches there, okay? That's supposed to say 2.5. Does yours say 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so how many plants measure 2.5 inches, Cadence?
2.
Okay, and let's write 2 plants, so we'll know it's not 2 inches, right? Okay. George V., what is the measurement of the tallest plant?
2 and 10.
Very good. And this says, what is the difference between the longest and shortest measurements? Now, I've already figured that out, haven't I?
Yeah.
So how do I do difference?
Subtract.
You subtract. Good. That makes me happy you said that. So you subtract. So I'm going to write a subtraction problem. I'm actually going to write mine up here because I have more room up there. You might have more room at the bottom. So what do I have to keep in mind when subtracting?
That do the whole numbers.
Well, but you're getting ahead of it. I've got to write the problem.
27.
largest number on
270.
The largest number comes first or is on top. So 2 7/8 minus 1 3/4. Okay, now, is there any whole number stuff I can do ahead of time?
Yes.
And I have a feeling 7/8 is going to be large enough to subtract when I change them both to eighths. Do you feel the same way? So 2 minus 1 is,
1.
okay, so we're going to change them. That's subtraction, not addition. I almost wrote an addition sign. Okay, so we're going to change them both to what?
8.
8ths. Because 8 times 4 is 32. That's pretty large, isn't it? So let's change them both to 8ths. And then let's figure out our answer from there. Okay, so 7/8 and 3/4. Are you already done with this?
Yes.
I had a feeling. So did you get 7 minus 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 7/8 minus 6/8 is 1/8. And my label is
Inches.
inches. Okay, good job. All right, we're going to skip ahead to the homework page for now to do a little more practice. So go ahead and take this page, put it in the sorter if they're not testing, and pick up your homework page from the back counter. Okay, let's take a look at this. The reason I picked out the homework instead of the problem set is because it has some good questions on it that I want you to get to practice. So a meteorologist set up rain gauges at various locations around a city and recorded the rainfall amounts in the table below. Use the data in the table to create a line plot using 1/8 inches. Now I think this line plot is too small, okay? So what I'm going to do is make a larger one. And I'm doing mine at the top. I would suggest you do yours at the bottom. I'm doing mine at the top because I'm recording. Whoops, I'm on white. There we go. Okay, so before we do anything else, let's look at those measurements in the table. Okay, so let's take a look at the measurements in the table. I see some 8ths, I see some 4ths. I see one whole number, couple whole numbers or just one? 2. Okay, and instead of calling these cities, they're calling them locations, okay? So I want to look at, okay, which one of these is the smallest number?
1/8.
1/8. So what would my number line need to start with?
1/8.
No,
One.
it needs to start with a whole number.
0.
0. Okay? And then the largest of the measurements is
1.
1 1/4. So what whole number needs to go on my number line? Okay? So I'm going to put a 1 in the middle. So go ahead and get that much done on your number line. Okay, and then it says create a line plot using 1/8 inches. But there's a problem with 1/8 because I have fourths on here too. So I have an idea. You see what you think of it. What if we would mark fourths and then in between each of those put a little tick mark? That would be our eighths. Okay? So I want you to mark fourths. So that's just 3 tick marks. And make them not too large, but larger than a tiny one. And then between each of those, I want to put a tiny tick mark. And that will be eighths. And we are going to label part of these, okay? So did you see any halves on here, on the table?
No.
Look carefully. Are there any halves? Okay, so I'm not going to call them halves.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the half 4/8. And I don't see any 4/8, but I see a 3/8. So that's going to help me, isn't it? Find the 3/8. Okay, so now I want to mark the fourths. This is why I wanted your lines different sizes. This is just me thinking ahead to make our lives easier when we do this, okay? So what I have is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8. Can you find your correct number by counting that way?
Yes.
Okay. So the first measurement I want to put on there is 1/8. So it's here. And instead of crossing that off, I'm going to highlight it because I want to be able to see it later. You can just circle it or whatever. Okay? And the next measurement is what?
3/8.
3/8. That's going to be easy to find. It's right in front of 4/8, isn't it? 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Okay? And then I'm going to highlight that one. 3/4 is my next measurement. Very good. And I've got 2 of those, don't I? Mm-hmm. 1/4 is next. We have that labeled, don't we? That's nice. Okay, and then you're going to have to read the rest off to me. So how about, Chloe, read me location 6. What is it?
1 and 1/4.
Okay, so 1 and 1/4. And the next one, Chloe?
1/8.
1/8. Keep going.
Okay.
Are there 3 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
1/4. 1.
1 whole?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 1/8.
Another 8? Okay. All right, you guys agree? Okay, so let's answer our questions. And D is the total, so we'll have to add them up. Okay, so it says, which location received the most rainfall? You're going to have to look at your table to figure that out. It's going to be location 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 10.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to pull a stick, Emily.
6.
Okay, so let's go ahead and write location 6. You know, we should answer in a complete sentence, shouldn't we? Location 6 received the most rainfall. Okay, which location received the least rainfall, Eurydia?
1/8.
Oh, there's more than one of those, isn't there?
1.
Let Eurydia answer. I pulled her stick.
1.
There's one more. 1, 7, and 10. You guys agree? Okay. So let's keep going. Which rainfall measurement was the most frequent? George A?
1/8.
1/8. And remind me what most frequent meant.
The most.
The most. Or most often. Okay? Now it says what is the total rainfall in inches. So before we do that, I think we better write our totals underneath. Do you have room underneath to write your totals? Sort of. So if not, you can write them up at the top of the page where I'm writing them. Okay? So I've got 3 copies of 1/8. What's that?
3/8.
3/8. Okay? And then I've got, or should we write them right here? What if we wrote them here? That makes more sense, doesn't it? We'll see if I can get all that on my screen. And then I've got 2 copies of 1/4. What's that?
1/2.
Oh, but let's change it to 8s.
I think it's a principle of the day.
Yes. Okay. So let's change this to 8s. Instead of 2/4, what should I make it?
4/8.
4/8. So I'm going to write 4/8 here. Okay. The next one, how many of the 3/4 are there?
2.
2. So that would be
6.
6/4, but let's change it to 8s. Double it.
12.
12/8. Okay. And then we have 1. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have, what is this?
1 and 1/4.
1 and 1/4. So let's change it to 8s. 1 and 2/8. Good. On that one, you might have to count tick marks. 1/8, 2/8.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm sorry. 1/8, 2/8. So now, is that what we're adding up?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to add these. Well, actually, I think I want to do 2 plus. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I do 2 plus, then I've got rid of these ones. And I'm going to add all those numbers. Start with the biggest one, right? 12 plus 2.
14.
14 plus 4.
18.
18 plus,
21.
we forgot something, because it should be 24.
Oh, you forgot the
What did I forget?
1.
No, I got the 1. We're gonna. Good job, Jesus. Yes, we did. We forgot it because we had 3/8, 4/8, and then there should be a 3/8 right here. So I'm going to put it over here, and we're going to try again. That's a pretty common mistake. Okay. So we've got 12 plus 2 is 14. 14 plus 4 was 18. 18 plus 3, 21 plus 3.
24.
So I got 24/8. Write that down. What's 24 divided by 8?
3.
So 2 plus 3.
5.
What's my answer? 5 inches of total rainfall. Okay. All right. So on the exit ticket, you can cross off number 2. You don't have to explain anything to me. Okay. The only thing you have to do at 1:30 is make me a line plot. That's it. Now, the measurements are halves and fourths. What's the smallest measurement on here?
1 and 1/2.
1 and 1/2. So let's start with 1. And what's the highest measurement? 3 and 3/4. So we'll have what here? 4. Now let's take a look at 2 and 3. Now I want to help you with this. Do you remember did we do a line plot with fourths and halves? I don't think we did. So let's mark halves on here. And then mark the fourths. Now you don't have to label all of these, okay? You can if you want. But I want to do 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. You agree? And then underneath this, instead of 2/4, I want to write 1/2. I want them both there. Okay? But so you can find them easily. Can you finish this at 1:30? Okay. You can go ahead and go.